10 Stoic keys to master your words, mind, emotions, and money. What if your greatest power isn't in changing the world, but in mastering the four areas that quietly shape it? Your words, your mind, your emotions, and your money. Could you build a life of unshakable clarity and peace, not by doing more, but by thinking and acting with intention in everything? What if the secret to lasting success isn't found in hustle but in silent self-control that few ever practice? Welcome to the Stoic Today YouTube. Please take a moment of your precious time and generosity to click the subscribe button, comment. Thank you very much. Please listen to the next great content. Have you ever felt like your life is spinning out of control? Your emotions dictate your actions, your thoughts overwhelm you, your words cause unnecessary conflict, and your finances keep you stressed. If so, you're not alone. Most people go through life reacting instead of leading, letting external forces shape their choices instead of mastering the things within their control. But the Stoics knew that true power, the kind that brings peace, clarity, and freedom, comes from controlling four key areas: your mouth, your mind, your mood, and your money. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Strength doesn't come from controlling the world, it comes from controlling yourself." Imagine how different your life would be if you spoke with intention instead of reacting impulsively. If you trained your mind to focus on solutions instead of problems. If you managed your emotions instead of letting them control you. And if you handled your finances with discipline rather than stress. That kind of self-mastery isn't just possible, it's essential. In this episode, we'll break down 10 Stoic principles that will help you master these four areas of life. Each one is practical, actionable, and rooted in ancient wisdom. If you apply these lessons, you'll start to feel an incredible shift, one where you are in control, no longer tossed around by circumstances, but standing firm with clarity, confidence, and direction. Let's begin with the first key: the power of words. Speak with intention. How often do you say something without thinking, only to regret it later? Maybe you reacted in anger, made a careless remark, or let your emotions speak before your reason. Words may seem fleeting, but their impact is lasting. They can build trust or destroy it, inspire or discourage, heal or wound, and once spoken, they cannot be taken back. The Stoics understood that speech is not just a way of communicating, it is a reflection of character. Epictetus warned, first, learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. Yet most people speak impulsively, filling the air with words without considering their weight. But the one who controls their mouth, who speaks only when necessary and with purpose, commands respect and avoids unnecessary conflict. Imagine two leaders in a CRM crisis. One reacts emotionally, shouting orders, placing blame, and creating chaos. The other pauses, thinks carefully, and speaks with precision and confidence. Who do people trust more? Who has true control? It is not the one who speaks the most, but the one who speaks with wisdom. Mastering your words begins with the power of the pause. Most verbal mistakes happen because people react instead of respond. Before you speak, ask yourself, is this true? Is this necessary? Is this wise? If the answer is no, stay silent. Marcus Aurelius advised, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Your words should serve a purpose, not just fill space. But controlling your speech isn't just about restraint, it's also about precision and impact. Many people talk too much, but say too little. They over-explain, exaggerate, or speak without clarity the Stoics valued. Brevity and meaning. Speak less but make every word count. Instead of reacting emotionally, train yourself to respond logically. Instead of filling conversations with empty words, focus on substance. Another critical lesson is avoiding destructive speech. Gossip, complaining, and negative talk are traps that weaken discipline and damage relationships. Seneca warned, associate with those who will make a better man of you. If your words do not add value to yourself or to others, then they do not need to be spoken. The strongest people are not those who dominate every conversation, but those who know when to remain silent and when to make their words count. Silence itself is a tool of power. Most people fear silence and rush to fill it, often speaking just to avoid discomfort. But Silence allows reflection, prevents unnecessary conflict, and commands attention when you do choose to speak. The most respected individuals are often those who listen more than they talk at its core. Mastering your speech is about aligning your words with wisdom and purpose. Speak in a way that builds trust, strengthens your character, and reflects your discipline. When you learn to control your tongue, you gain control over one of the most powerful forces in your life. And once you do that, you begin to master not just your speech, but your mind, your actions, and ultimately your destiny. 2. Manage your mood. How often do you let your emotions dictate your day? A rude comment ruins your mood. A minor inconvenience throws you into frustration, or unexpected news sends you into a spiral of stress. Most people allow external events to control how they feel, reacting impulsively rather than responding with wisdom. But the Stoics believe that true strength lies in mastering one's emotions. Epictetus taught it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Imagine waking up and finding that everything is going wrong. You spill your coffee, you hit traffic, someone speaks to you rudely. If you let these small events control your emotions, your entire day is ruined before it even starts. But if you decide that none of these things are worth your peace, who remain steady. The events are the same. The only difference is your response. Mood management starts with awareness. Many people go through life reacting automatically, never stopping to question their emotional responses. The first step toward control is to observe your emotions without immediately acting on them. When you feel anger, frustration, or anxiety, rising, pause. Ask yourself, is this feeling based on reality or my perception? Will this matter in a day, a week, a year? Is my reaction helping or harming me? By questioning your emotions, you create space between feeling and acting. Marcus Aurelius mastered this practice, writing in his meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Another key to emotional control is detaching from what you can't control. Many people let things they cannot change, other people's opinions, external circumstances in the past affect their emotional state. But Seneca reminds us we suffer more in imagination than in reality. The next time you feel yourself getting upset, ask, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. Your energy is better spent on what you can change, your mindset, your actions, your growth. Another powerful strategy is using your breath to control your emotions. The Stoics practice deep breathing and stillness as a way to stay calm. Under pressure, the moment you feel stress or anger rising, take a slow, deep breath. This simple act signals to your brain that there is no immediate danger and helps restore your clarity. The body follows the mind, but the mind also follows the body. When you control your breath, you control your emotions. But perhaps the most important lesson in mood management is choosing your interpretation. No event has inherent meaning. It is you who gives it meaning. Marcus Aurelius advised, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If something goes wrong, you can choose to see it as a disaster or as a challenge to overcome. If someone criticizes you, you can take offense or see it as an opportunity for self-improvement. Your perspective shapes your emotions. Mastering your mood doesn't mean ignoring emotions. It means training yourself to respond rather than react. It means realizing that no external event has power over you unless you give it power to when you reach. This level of control, you become unshakable. No matter what happens, you remain steady, composed and in command of your mind. 3. Master your mind control. Your thoughts shape your reality. Every action you take, every emotion you feel, and every decision you make begins in your mind. If you don't control your thoughts, they will control you. Most people allow their minds to run on autopilot, filling their heads with doubt, fear, and negativity, without ever questioning it. But the Stoics knew that true freedom starts with mastering the mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If you let negativity consume your mind, your life will reflect it. But if you train your mind to focus on strength, wisdom, and self-discipline, you will see that reflected in everything you do. Think about this. Two people can experience the same event yet interpret it completely differently. One person sees a setback as a failure, while another sees it as a lesson. One person focuses on obstacles, while another focuses on solutions. The event is the same. The difference is their thinking. Epicus talk men are disturbed not by things but by the views they take of them. The way you perceive your circumstances is what determines your reality. Mastering your mind starts with mental awareness. Most negative thoughts happen automatically. You think I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. This is impossible. But have you ever stopped to question those thoughts? Where do they come from? Are they even true? The first step to mental mastery is to become aware of these thoughts rather than letting them control you. When a negative thought arises, pause and ask, is this thought helpful or harmful? Is it based on reality or just my fear? What would a stronger version of me think instead? When you challenge negative thoughts, you weaken their power instead of BLL. Accepting them, replace them with stronger, more useful beliefs. Instead of thinking I can't handle this, train your mind to say, this is difficult, but I will figure it out. Instead of thinking I always fail, tell yourself, every failure is making me better. The words you repeat in your mind become your truth. Choose them wisely. The next step is focusing only on what you can control. Most mental suffering comes from worrying about things outside of our control. Other people's opinions, the past, the future. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. If you cannot control something, why waste energy thinking about it? Redirect your thoughts toward what you can influence. Your actions, your discipline, your response to challenges. Another key to mastering your mind is limiting distractions. In today's world, people constantly flood their brains with information. Endless scrolling, negative news, mindless entertainment. But the Stoics practiced mental discipline by focusing only on what mattered. Ask yourself, what am I feeding my mind? Is it making me wiser, stronger, more focused? Or is it making me weaker, more anxious, more distracted? Be intentional about what you allow into your mental space. Finally, train your mind through stillness and reflection. The Stoics regularly took time to step back, observe their thoughts, and refine their thinking. Marcus Aurelius would write in his journal, analyzing his own mind and actions. Even 5 minutes a day of quiet reflection, whether through journaling, meditation, or simply sitting in silence, can help you regain control of your thoughts and bring clarity to your mind. Your mind is either your job guess, greatest weapon, or your greatest weakness. The choice is yours. If you let it run wild with doubt and negativity, it will work against you. But if you train it with discipline, focus, and wisdom, it will become your greatest asset. And once you master your mind, you master everything else. 4. The importance of reflection and silence in a world full of noise, constant notifications, endless conversations, and non-stop distractions. How often do you truly sit with your thoughts? Most people fear silence. They fill every quiet moment with something, music, scrolling, talking, because I don't want to be alone with their own minds. But the Stoics understood something, that most people overlook. Clarity and wisdom come from reflection and silence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Yet few people ever go there. Instead, they react to life rather than engage with it. They move from one task to another, one conversation to another, without ever stopping to ask, am I on the right path? Are my actions aligned with my values? Am I in control, or am I simply reacting to everything around me? Reflection is not a luxury. It is a necessity. If you do not take time to examine your thoughts, emotions, and actions, you will live on autopilot, repeating the same mistakes, chasing the wrong goals, and wondering why nothing never changes. But when you cultivate silence, when you learn to sit with your thoughts rather than run from them, you gain something. Most people never will. Self-awareness, mastering reflection, starts with creating intentional moments of stillness. Most people never pause to think deeply because they never make time for it. But silence is where you gain clarity. Instead of rushing to check your phone in the morning, start your day with 5 minutes of quiet before reacting to a stressful situation. Take a deep breath, and let yourself think before you act in the evening. Take a few moments to review your day, what you did well, what you could improve, and how you can be better. Tomorrow the Stoics practice this. Every day Seneca advised each evening, we should call ourselves to account. What weakness did I overcome? Today, what virtue did I practice? Where did I let my emotions control me? This habit of self-examination turns mistakes into lessons and prevents you from repeating the same errors. Another powerful tool is journaling. Marcus Aurelius didn't write meditations for an audience, he wrote it for himself as a way to organize his thoughts and strengthen his mind. Writing forces you to slow down, process emotions, and see things from a new perspective. It doesn't have to be complicated. Even jotting down a few thoughts each day can help you develop a deeper sense of self-mastery. Beyond reflection, silence itself is a source of strength. Most people speak too much, react too quickly, and fill conversations with unnecessary words. But the strongest people, those with true self-control, know that silence is often more powerful than speech. Epictetus said we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Before you speak, ask yourself, is this necessary? Will this add value? Am I speaking out of wisdom or just to be heard? Silence is also a shield. When someone insults you, silence denies them power. When emotions rise, silence gives you time to think. When the world is loud and chaotic, silence creates a space for clarity. At its core, reflection and silence are about reclaiming control over. In your own mind, if you are always distracted, you will never truly know yourself. If you never take time to think, you will live without direction. But if you cultivate stillness, if you make space for deep thought, for honest self-examination, you will develop something most people lack: clarity, purpose and control. The world will always be noisy, but if you master reflection and silence, you will never be lost in the noise. 5. Self-control in finances. Money is one of the greatest sources of stress in people's lives. Not because money itself is good or bad, but because most people do not control it. Instead, money controls them. They spend impulsively, chase wealth without purpose, or live in constant fear of not having enough. But the Stoics saw money for what it truly is: a tool, nothing more, nothing less. Seneca warned wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. True financial freedom isn't about how much you earn, it's about how much control you have over your financial decisions. Think about how most people handle money. They buy things. They don't need to impress people. They don't even like they live paycheck to paycheck. Not because they don't make enough, but because they never learn discipline. They allow emotions, greed, fear, impulse to dictate their spending. But the person who masters their finances masters a key. Pillar of independence. Financial self-control begins with understanding that money should serve you, not rule you. Too many people fall into the trap of thinking that more money equals more happiness. But how many wealthy people do you know who are still miserable? Money amplifies who you are. It does not change you. The Stoics didn't reject wealth, they simply refused to be owned by it. Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. If you can master your desires, you will never be a slave to money. The next step is controlling your spending with logic, not emotion. Most financial mistakes happen because people spend based on impulse. They feel stressed, so they buy things to feel better. And they see others flaunting wealth, so they try to keep up. But Stoic wisdom teaches us to ask, do I need this? Does this serve a purpose? Or is this just a temporary pleasure? If spending doesn't align with your values, it's not worth it. Another key to financial discipline is saving and investing with patience. Many people want quick riches, but real wealth is built over time. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, do what you must let what happens happen. Instead of chasing shortcuts, focus on long-term financial habits, saving consistently, investing wisely, and avoiding unnecessary debt. Wealth isn't built overnight, but through small, disciplined actions over time. And then there's the trap of letting money Define your self-worth. Some people measure their value by their bank account, believing that success means having more. More cars, more luxury, more status. But the Stoics saw this as an illusion. True wealth is not in how much you own, but in how little you need. If you have financial freedom but still feel empty inside, then wealth has done nothing for you. Seneca warned you, act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire. In other words, people fear losing money as if their life depend on it, yet they chase wealth as if they will live forever. But money is a tool. It should never be a master. Finally, financial self-control means knowing when enough is enough. The goal is not to hoard money just for the sake of it. It is to reach a point where you no longer worry about money, where you make decisions based on what is right for you, not out of financial desperation, where you are free to live, think and act without being a prisoner to financial stress. Master your money and you master a key part of your life, because when you have financial discipline, you are no longer controlled by impulse, by fear, or by the expectations of others. You become free. 6. Replace negative thoughts with positive ones. Your mind is a battlefield, and the enemy is not the outside world. It is your own thoughts. Every day, countless negative thoughts pass through your mind. I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. Things never work out for me. And the more you entertain them, the stronger they become. But here's the truth. You don't have to accept every thought that enters your mind, just like you wouldn't let an intruder live in your home. You shouldn't let negative thoughts take up space in your mind. Epictetus reminds us, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If you think negatively, your life will follow. If you think with strength, resilience and purpose, your reality will reflect. That most people assume that thoughts are automatic and unchangeable. But this is false. Your thoughts are habits, just like anything else. If you repeatedly tell yourself, I can't, your brain wires itself to believe that if you constantly focus on problems instead of solutions, your mind becomes conditioned to expect failure. But the good news is, just as you build in those negative patterns, you can rewire your brain to work for you instead of against you. The first step is to catch negative thoughts as they appear. Many people let their minds run wild without stopping to question their thoughts. The next time you think I'll never be successful, pause. Ask yourself, is this true? Or is this just a fear? Speaking most of the time, negative thoughts are not facts. They are just conditioned beliefs. Once you recognize a negative thought, replace it immediately with a stronger, more positive one. If your mind says, I'll never succeed, respond with, I will figure it out step by step. If you, I think I always fail, counter it with every failure is making me stronger and more prepared. You're not ignoring reality. You're choosing a mindset that helps you move forward rather than hold you back. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This means that while you cannot always control what happens in life, you can always control your interpretation of it. You can either see setbacks as proof of failure or as lessons that sharpen your resilience. You can either let small inconveniences ruin your day, or you can train yourself to rise above them. The choice is always yours. Another technique the Stoics practiced was negative visualization, but with a twist. Instead of just imagining worst case scenarios and fearing them, they trained their minds to accept them and prepare for them. This way, if difficulties came, they would be ready. You can do the same. Instead of letting a negative thought spiral into despair, turn it into preparation. If you think, what if I fail? Ask yourself, and if I do, what can I? Learn this simple shift, removes fear and replaces it with control. And finally, surround yourself with the right influences. If you constantly listen to negativity from the news, social media, or even people in your life, your mind will reflect that. But if you fill your environment with strength, reading, philosophy, listening to wisdom, engaging with people who think positively, your brain will adapt to that. Instead, Seneca won't associate with those who will make a better man. Of you, who and what you expose your mind to determines the thoughts that dominate it. Rewiring your mind is not about blind optimism, it's about taking control. It's about choosing thoughts that serve you rather than weaken you. And once you master this, you stop being a victim of your mind and become its master. Instead, 7. Gratitude as a daily practice. Most people spend their lives chasing what they don't. Have more money, more success, more recognition. Always thinking that once they achieve these things, then they will finally be happy. But the Stoics knew a secret that modern society often forgets. Happiness isn't about having more, it's about appreciating what you already have. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor." Think about that for a moment there. Are people with very little who feel rich because they appreciate what they have. And there are people with millions who feel empty because they are always focused on what they lack. The difference is not in their possessions but in their perspective. Gratitude is a key that shifts your focus from lack to abundance, from complaining to contentment, from chasing happiness to recognizing it. But gratitude is not just a nice idea, it's a practice. It requires training your mind to see the good, especially when life is difficult. Too often, people let small problems ruin their mood, forgetting the countless things that are going right in their lives. If you woke up today, if you have food, if you have even one person who cares about you, then you have things to be grateful for. The problem is most people take these things for granted until they lose them. But the Stoics taught that by practicing gratitude before loss, you build a mindset of appreciation that makes you mentally stronger. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "Do not indulge in dreams of what you have not, but reckon up the greatest of the blessings you do possess." And how do you do this? By making gratitude an intentional part of your day. Start with morning gratitude. When you wake up, before checking your phone or jumping into the press. Day's responsibilities. Take a moment to acknowledge 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be grand. Sometimes it's as simple as, "I am grateful for my health, for a new day, and for the opportunity to grow." This small habit shifts your mindset from stress to appreciation. Then practice situational gratitude. Throughout your day, whenever something frustrates, you use it as a trigger to find something to be grateful for. If you're stuck in traffic, be grateful you have a car. If you're overwhelmed with work, be grateful you have opportunities. If someone is rude to you, be grateful you have the wisdom to stay calm. This habit forces your mind to look for positives even in negatives. And finally, reflect on gratitude before bed. And the Stoics practiced nightly reflection, not just to analyze their mistakes, but to remind themselves of what went well each night. Take a moment to list what you appreciated about the day. This reinforces a mindset of fulfillment rather than dissatisfaction. Gratitude isn't just about feeling good. It's about training your mind to focus on what is rather than obsessing over what isn't. The more you practice it, the less power external events have over your happiness. Because when you learn to appreciate what you already have, you stop chasing happiness and start living it. 8. Be consistent and patient on your path to control. Most people want quick results. They want discipline, financial stability, emotional control, and success. But they want it overnight. And when they don't see immediate progress, they quit. But here's what the Stoics understood: real mastery takes time. True self-control over your words, thoughts, emotions, and money is not built in a day. It is built in the small, consistent actions you take every single day. Seneca warned against impatience, writing, "He who is in a hurry delays the things he seeks." The more you rush your progress, the more frustrated you become, and the more likely you are to give up. But those who commit to steady, disciplined action, who understand that growth is a lifelong process, become unshakable. Think about the strongest, most disciplined people in history. Did they wake up one morning with complete control over their emotions? Did they develop financial wisdom in a week? Of course not. They built their strength through repetition, through practice, through consistency. And that is the key. Consistency beats intensity every time. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up day after day no matter what. But why do so many people struggle with consistency? The first reason is that they are too focused on results instead of the process. They think I'll be disciplined once I see progress, but progress doesn't come first. Discipline does. The Stoics didn't wait for external rewards to stay committed to their principles. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do what nature demands, get on with your task." In other words, don't waste time worrying about when you will see results. Just do the work. The results will come when they are meant to another reason. People's struggle is impatience with setbacks. Many believe that a single failure ruins everything. They start a new habit, break it once, and then give up entirely. But the Stoics saw failure differently. Epicus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery doesn't mean never failing. It means failing and continuing. Anyway, one mistake does not erase progress. The only thing that stops progress is quitting. So how do you stay consistent and patient on your path to control? First, focus on daily repeatable actions. Instead of obsessing over a distant goal, to commit to one small action every day. If you want to master your emotions, take 5 minutes each morning to reflect before reacting to stress. If you want to improve your finances, set a budget and track your spending daily if you want to. Control your speech, practice pausing before you respond. These small actions repeated over time create massive change. Second, accept slow progress as part of the journey. The Stoics knew that patience was a virtue because life does not cooperate on our schedule. If something is taking longer than you expected, good. That means you're learning endurance, resilience, and discipline, and things far more valuable than quick success. Seneca said time discovers truth. Stay patient, stay steady, finally trust the process. Many people quit right before they would have seen progress. They assume their efforts are wasted because they don't see results immediately. But the Stoics teach us that every action matters, even if we don't see its impact right away. Marcus Aurelius wrote the fruit of this. Life is good character and acts for the common good. In other words, if you stay consistent, if you keep working towards self-control, it will shape you into the person you are meant to be. Discipline is not something you achieve. It is something you practice. Control is not a single decision. It is a commitment you make every day. And if you are patient, if you remain consistent, nothing will be able to shake you. 9. Set boundaries and protect your energy. Your time, your focus, and your energy are your most valuable resources. Yet most people give them away freely. Without a second thought, they let toxic people drain them. Unnecessary obligation overwhelm them, and distractions pull them in on different directions. But if you want true control over your life, you must learn to set boundaries and protect your energy. The Stoics understood this well. Epicus warned, if you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid in extraneous matters. Don't wish to seem knowledgeable. In other words, stop giving your attention to things that do not serve you. The world will always demand more from you, more of your time, more of your attention, more of your energy. But you are not obligated to give it. The first step in protecting your energy is learning to say no without guilt. Most people struggle with this because they fear disappointing others. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us, do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about your neighbors. Your duty is not to please everyone, it is to live according to your values. If something does not align with your priorities, say no. No explanation is necessary. No. Apology is required next. Identify and distance yourself from toxic influences. Some people thrive on negativity, on gossip, on drama. Others constantly drain you with their problems, but never take action to change. The Stoics advise limiting exposure to such people. Seneca said, associate with those who will make a better man of you. Choose your company wisely. Surround yourself with those who push you forward, not those who hold you back. Another crucial boundary is protecting your mental space. In today's world, distractions are endless social media news, cycles, pointless arguments. But if you let everything demand your attention, you will never have the clarity to focus on what truly matters. The Stoics practiced mental discipline by focusing only on what was within their control. Before you engage with something, ask yourself, will this add value to my life? If the answer is no, let it go and finally set boundaries with yourself. It's not just other people who drain your energy, it's also your own lack of discipline. If you constantly allow yourself to waste time to indulge in negative thoughts or to break your own commitments, you are sabotaging your own power. Self-control is a form of self-respect. Hold yourself accountable when you set boundaries and protect your energy. Something incredible happens. You gain clarity, you feel lighter, you stop being pulled in 1,000 directions and start moving with intention. You no longer feel drained because your time, focus and effort are invested where they belong. Your control over your life begins with control over your environment. If you do not set boundaries, the world will set them for you. Choose wisely. 10. The power of deliberate action. How many times have you acted impulsively only to regret it later? How often do people rush into decisions, whether in relationships, career or finances, without thinking them through, only to face unnecessary hardship? Most mistakes in life come not from a lack of intelligence, but from a lack of deliberation. The Stoics understood that true power lies not just in action, but in intentional action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Think before you act, let your actions be deliberate, never driven by impulse. Every choice you make shapes your future, so why would you leave it to chance?" The modern world encourages speed, quick decisions, fast reactions, instant gratification, but speed is often the enemy of wisdom. The Stoics valued calculated action, acting with reason, not emotion. When you pause before speaking, before deciding before reacting, you give yourself something rare in today's world: clarity. The first step in mastering deliberate action is creating space between stimulus and response. Most people react without thinking. Someone insults them, they lash out an opportunity. To appears, they jump in without considering the consequences. But Epicurus taught, no great thing is created suddenly when faced with a decision. Train yourself to step back. Ask, is this action aligned with my values? Will this choice move me forward or set me back? If you cannot answer with certainty, wait. True strength lies in patience, not haste. The second step is aligning your actions with your long-term goals. Many people waste years chasing short-term pleasures at the cost of their bigger purpose. They take jobs they hate for quick money, enter relationships that drain them, or indulge in habits that offer temporary comfort but long-term regret. The Stoics remind us that everything we do should serve a higher purpose. Seneca advised, nothing is more honorable than a man who steers his course by a plan. Every action should be a step toward who you want to become. Another key principle is acting with discipline, not emotion. Feelings are fleeting, but actions have lasting consequences. If you let anger, fear, or excitement dictate your choices, you surrender control. Instead, practice acting based on logic, reason, and reflection. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to ask, is this essential before making a move? If it wasn't, he discarded it. Apply the wasn't. Same stuff. Before committing to anything, ask, does this serve my highest good? And finally, trust in the process of slow, steady action. Many people want instant results. They want financial success, emotional mastery, and life control now. But the Stoics knew that true power is built daily through small, deliberate choices. Epicurus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do to decide who you want to become, and then shape your actions accordingly, one decision at a time. Deliberate action is the key to a life of wisdom, strength, and control. It prevents regret, builds confidence, and keeps you aligned with your purpose. When you slow down, think clearly, and act only when necessary, you no longer feel like life is happening to you. You realize that you're the one directing it now. You hold the keys. Mastering your words, mind, mood, and money is not about controlling the world. It's about controlling yourself. The Stoics taught that the foundation of a strong life is discipline. And when you apply these principles, you step into a version of yourself that is unshakable. Speak with attention control. Your emotions master your thoughts. Be patient, protect your energy, act with purpose. This is how you build a life of power, peace, and self mastery. If this episode resonated with you, let me know in the comments which of these 10 lessons do you need to apply most in your life right now. And if you're ready to take control of your mind and actions, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps spread this wisdom to more people. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay focused, and take control. Thank you for listening and subscribe. Comment on the channel.